Hello, and welcome back to the Pokemon Sword and Shield critique. Um, Today is going to be session 2, but I'm going to start out with a reply to my only commenter, which is fine. I'm okay with this. But I figured I'd reply to it because, well, I'd rather reply to it in video form because, this is an audio series or whatever, instead of writing something up. So, Destiny Dragon GS wrote, if I had to make a recommendation, it would be that you wait a couple days before recording your thoughts on a gameplay session. It will give you time to process your thoughts and will allow you to judge more rationally than caving into your emotions, in this case, rage. I actually haven't played the game as I haven't felt up to playing Pokemon recently. Normally, I wouldn't give Normally, I don't give much a shit about graphics, but I do have to make an exception in this case, as they use them as a scapegoat. I used to be fine with Dynamax, didn't really give it much thought, but then I saw some gameplay footage and realized, wow, this is really lame. One thing I'm very curious about is your thoughts on a certain endgame boss that I absolutely despise. I've been meaning to say this for a while. I know how you feel. I went through something very similar with BlazBlue Central Fiction. Been pissed at the game since the moment I learned of its existence and still am to this day. And there's a link. I'll put it in. I'll leave it out just for privacy's sake. And that was me holding back hard, like 25% of my frustration tops. But don't worry, it gets better. You'll mellow out after a while. One thing I recommend doing is at the very end of this series is pretending that either Sword and Shield is the only Pokemon game in existence, or if it was your first Pokemon game ever. Just see how your rating changes. I've done that with Central Fiction, and when I put my biases aside, it's not all that bad. I'd say it's an okay game. It's just a terrible BlazBlue game. Is it BlazBlue or BlazBlue? I don't know. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Sword and Shield are the same way. To respond to the first part, with the waiting to record my thoughts rationally, I I'm not gonna argue against that. That does make sense. But I actually really do want this series to be more of an emotional thing, because this game and the impact that it has had on, I would say, the fandom itself, has been a very emotional impact. And for me, I don't think I can do it justice if I go a more logical route, because personally, I think that my emotions for this game are really a very big driving force for why I am doing this critique in the first place. I Yeah, and considering I probably still hate Black and White 2 more, and I haven't done a critique for that, I think that says a lot. I haven't gone and made a flat out video critique of Black and White 2. I've written things down and stuff, over time, but never a full on critique of the entire game, which is what I'm planning on doing here. The other reason, which I guess isn't that great of a reason as to why, is because I'm a very forgetful person. So, I usually tend to forget things if I don't do them, like, every day. And so, I'm basically trying to do everything so that I remember to do this. So that I record it every day and don't forget for, like, several weeks. It's what I've been doing with my Nuzlocke run, or with my Solo Lock run recently. I've just been recording a session every day so that I don't forget to record a session, because I kind of forgot for, like, half a year. Because I'm not very good at memory. As for the graphics and everything like that, I'm going to go more in depth with those this time, to some extent, with a certain battle that I got to. About the endgame boss, haven't gotten to that point. I do know what the boss is, but haven't gotten to that point. Currently, as I am doing the sessions, it is the day of is when I am recording these audio logs. So, I am currently still before Gym 1, though I have just gotten to the first major city of the game and gone through the first Team Yell encounter and whatnot. as for the Blaze Blue, I don't know how it's pronounced. I apologize for that. As for that, yeah, I mean, I can totally understand. You know, yeah, I know people. I know I'm probably taking this way too seriously, and I do know that that this is, something that, people don't like. People aren't going to be very interested or whatnot, and that's fine. In my opinion, I don't mellow out. Honestly, when I dislike something, I tend to hold on to that for a very long time. It's just who I am. I've tried. There have been very few times where I have been able to succeed. I'm not giving myself an excuse. It's just that is who I am. I am someone who I'm taking this very seriously because this is a game, and video games are one of my very big passions in my life. And Pokemon has been one of my big passions in my life for almost all of my life. And so, yes, I feel like I have to take this very seriously. And, you know, even if that means, going and, being very cruel about the game, that's just how I am. I understand if you don't agree with that, and that's perfectly fine. Um, it's just, that's my thought process going in. Um, I am interested in your idea though of doing a very like an epilogue episode of just pretending like this is the first Pokemon game or the only Pokemon game that's ever been made for like a perspective change. To see how for normal for people who aren't even fans of the series to see how they would look at this game. I think that would be an interesting concept. So thank you for that suggestion. I think I might do that just for a bit of contrast. So I appreciate that. Thank you for your comment, Destiny Dragon. I appreciate it a lot. And so without further ado, let's get on with the critique. You can kind of hear my voice is rather shaky. After reading that comment, I did feel like I was going to cry. Not because of your comment, but because I like this game. It really kind of hurts me a lot. It really does. It hurts me a lot. Not, yeah. So, let's start off with some notes. So I tried again with the max raid battles to invite people online to see if the online feature is going to work at all. I did try, and no, it did not work. So I did it with computer players, as I have been doing, and I have heard things that the internet connection issue is a problem. I did try to connect to somebody else's Dynamax raid, or, max raid battle, but I don't know how to do that. So, I tried talking to I pressed the A button on a player, and it's just like, man, I wish somebody would join my max raid battle, but it's like, it doesn't tell me how to do that. So I'm just sitting here wondering, what do I do? Did I do something wrong? I see other players in my world, and I just can't seem to connect with any of them, like, not on an emotional level. This is just like, I can't seem to interact with them, for max raid battles or whatnot. So, that's kind of a problem. But I spent some more. So, a good first part of this is going to be basically, I spent some more time in the wild area because I really want to talk about the wild area because it was the big new feature that they introduced for this game. And wow, I was walking around the wild area and there was a shit ton of slowdown. And then there are some, and we're going back to the animations thing because one of the biggest excuses for the National Dex cut was high quality animations. Now, you can tell me that during the cutscenes, the humans have very high quality animations, and I would believe you. That is true. But it's only in the cutscenes where that happens. And I know I said that last time. But Jesus Christ, in the wild area, I'm seeing a fucking Xatu just hover with its wings spread apart, and it looks dumb. It looks so stupid. Like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this shit? You know? This is stupid. And there's no excusing this. They cut, more than half of the decks for this. And this is ugly. Now, I know people are going to be, well, you're being too harsh on this game. It's a Pokemon game. Pokemon is a $90 billion company. Or it's a $90 billion franchise. There is enough money that can be put in putting in more employees and putting in, but most of it's wasted and put into marketing or some other shit instead of, actually making a decent game. And I'm sorry, and I know I say that a lot, I'm sorry, but this is not a $40 3DS game. This isn't a $40 3DS game. This is a $60 game on the Nintendo Switch. This is a high-definition console. Okay, yes. Is it a portable handheld too? Yes. But it is first a console. And the fact that this game has these type of stale animations, the same animations that we've had since 2013, I'm sorry, that is unforgivable. That is unforgivable to me. So, and I also saw Gyarados. Yeah, it's just stale. These animations, they're not new or interesting, and they don't show any character in the actual design. The character that I've seen in any of the wild Pokemon so far has been with fucking Yamper. And even then, it's not that much different. So, let's move on. Pokemon Camp. Pokemon Camp is fine. Pokemon Camp is a relatively harmless feature, in my opinion. It is harmless, and I understand why people love it. It is, it's very cute. It's got a very cute vibe to it. And, that's all anybody can really ask for. That's the case. That's all anybody can actually ask for in a game, But I kind of miss Pokemon Refresh. This is going to sound weird, but I miss Pokemon Refresh. There is, it's just, you can't really compare having only 2 toys or whatever to petting your Pokemon and giving it direct affection. The fact that I can't pet my Pokemon, it's weird. I understand why, because this isn't the 3DS. We don't have a stylus for that type of shit, and that's fine. I understand that much. I'm not gonna gripe, but it's just like, it doesn't feel right. It's just like, I only have 2 toys to play with. I don't know if the player gets any more. I don't know if the player gets any more toys later on. For that, I don't have any idea if that's the case or not. But as of right now, I just think that compared to the petting, and I understand there wasn't that much with that either, but it's just like, petting is a lot more, it just feels a lot more intimate, and I like the intimacy of it. It's close up. You're cuddling with your Pokemon, and that's cute. And I wish we could do that, but it's just not something the game, has us do. So, when you're petting them, I wrote down, there was just something about petting them and whatnot that made me feel a lot more personal with them. And the fact that you can't pet them, and there's only 2 playing options with them, or at least what I've seen so far, just makes me feel like, yeah, they went 2 steps forward, but they also didn't really move at all. I don't know, I like the feature, but I wish I could just pet my Pokemon instead, and maybe feel a deeper relationship with them. And, that's just a personal opinion. That's just a personal thing. I understand a lot of other people just love the Pokemon camp mechanic. And then, by all means, you know, I completely understand. I think it's a very cute feature. I just prefer the more intimate feel of Pokemon Ami and Pokemon Refresh, specifically Refresh, because Ami doesn't really have that much going for it in comparison to Refresh. Because, Refresh has the whole cleaning feature and everything. It makes me feel connected to my Pokemon. So let's move on to the EXP share mechanic. Okay. So we're going back to this for one specific reason. And it kind of connects with, the last thing that I brought up with the, feeling a deeper connection with my Pokemon. The EXP share auto mechanic, the fact that you cannot turn it off, as well as the XP candies, makes me feel like I am not connecting with my Pokemon. For a good chunk of this session, I was sitting down doing max raid battles and whatnot, and, using the candies, because, yes, I'm using the candies because I expect that other players are going to be using them. So I want to at least make sure that I am trying out everything in the game, because I don't want to give it an unfair critique, and just half-ass it. If I'm going to critique the game, I'm going to do as much as I can to see the various features of the game. And I'm you know what, I'm not even going to say it. But I do not feel like I am connecting with my Pokemon. I wrote down, specifically here, I just feel bored. The fact that those words came out of my mouth while I am playing this game, and I'm the type of person who likes to grind in RPGs. I actually enjoy doing that. That is a very bad thing. I wrote, I just feel bored. I'm laying down and I don't feel anything. I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just sitting here looking at this bizarre reverse Nirvana, and it just disgusts me. It just disgusts me how it all feels. I don't feel like I'm getting connected to my Pokemon. That alone, the fact, that alone is a problem. Look, I know Nuzlocks usually make people even more attached to their Pokemon, but the thing with me is that even without Nuzlocke, I tend to get attached to my Pokemon. That's just how I've always been. I really, I like to build bonds with the Pokemon. It's just something that, I enjoy doing because I like to roleplay. It's a role-playing game, so I like to roleplay that I am the trainer and that these are my Pokemon. They're like my pets, and they're also, like my friends. And I'm supposed to take care of them. So it's like, even without a Nuzlocke, I still have those type of feelings, But this game just does not incite that from me. I feel so dull because of the fact that the Pokemon level up so quickly. And the fact that in order to keep them from gaining so much experience, you have to put them in the CPU in order to level up other Pokemon. It takes my connection away. It takes my connection away from me. Because I feel like I'm just throwing my Pokemon into the freaking bin so I can level up other Pokemon. Then I bring them back, and then I have to put them back. It's just a repeating cycle. And it doesn't feel like, that I'm getting connected to these creatures. It just feels like, it feels like I am a manager at a store, and I don't give two shits about my employees. That's not good. I don't want to feel like that. I don't want to feel like, this piece of shit is like, I guess you're too high, in level, so I need to throw you away and pick up this other thing, until it gets too high in level, and then I have to throw it away and bring another thing back, and it's just like, I don't like it. I think it's dumb. I don't think we needed auto XP share. Especially with the auto XP share, I do not believe we at all needed the XP candies. I think they are literally one of the worst aspects of this game, the fact that these are included. It's like we already have the XP share. Why? why would you add something, and it's not like you're not going to be grinding for them anyway. You're still grinding. In fact, it's probably even slower because the max raid battles are Dynamax, and the Dynamax battles take for fucking ever. So you might as well just go out and fight wild Pokemon instead. It's like you don't gain any direct experience from the Dynamax battles. So why? What is the fucking point? It's not like you're not grinding anyway. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Moving onwards. I finally entered into the first major city of the game, Motorsoke. Motorsoke. And I will admit that I saw the brick textures on the buildings, and they look pretty decent. I didn't hate them. I thought they were relatively fine. But the grass texture on the ground was very muggy, very just gross looking. It just, it looks flat, which isn't good. Like, understand, yes, there can be flat grass or whatever, but it's like flat in just color. It just doesn't look texturized, and it just felt kind of, uncomfortable for me. I'm assuming this is supposed to be the game's equivalent to London. I'm not entirely sure. I do not know much about the UK. I don't have much of an opinion on the UK. So, I do not know how it's supposed to look or whatever. Yeah. I don't live there. I don't have a lot of information about the place. So, if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, but I like this area of the game so far, and we'll see how it develops. There seems to be some kind of an MMO aspect with the the Pokejob thing in the CPU. So I sent out 3 of my Pokemon that I caught in the wild area. I think it was a Magikarp, a Snover, and a Growlithe that I sent out. And I'll see how that develops next session, because it's going to be for 24 hours. So it might not be next session, it might be session 4. But right now I was making my league card. My car code, I'm going to put it on the screen, but I'm going to read it out loud. It is 000, let me read it again. 0000 0005 DJ2K1H. I do like how the game is self-referential about how stupid Leon's design is. There's just a point where, like, there's an NPC that flat out, like, there's a lot of branding and stuff on Leon's cape, but didn't they think of that the design was rather ridiculous? And I was like, that's funny. I actually love that kind of stuff. When the game can be self-referential and make, self-deprecating humor, I'm okay with that. The fact that they are going back... Alright, and this is a part that is something I don't like. So we're going back to criticism, heavy criticism for this. Technical records. I do not like them. I don't. I do not like the concept. Look, as someone who has played through Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3... Well, haven't played through much Gen 2, but I've played through Gen 1, Gen 3, Gen 4. Games where TMs were temporary. I don't like this concept. I'm going to make it very abundantly clear. I do not like this concept. I have been happy with the reusable TM concept since Gen 5. It was one of the greatest additions that Gen 5 introduced to the series. And now they are going many steps back. Now, I understand. The reasoning they did this was to make the Dynamax battles feel way more important and whatever. And that's fine, I guess, but I do not like this concept. I don't like the fact that we have to go back to fucking Gen 1 through 4 standards with certain moves that just get deleted, you know. And the game even goes, it's old school. It's really old school. They break like old school. It's like, no. I don't like old school in this regard. No. Yeah, but then it's like some of the moves just fucking break the game. I gave my freaking Sobble, or I guess it's rather its evolution, Drizzlizzle? I don't know how to pronounce it. I gave its evolution Surf because I had accumulated enough points in the wild area to do that. And, well, it's fucking breaking the game at this point. Doesn't help that, you know, the game still thinks I'm a level 10, but, you know, whatever. I just don't like this concept. I understand there are people who do. There are people who actually like this concept that, you know, hey, TMs aren't all reusable and whatever. And, you know, if you like the concept, good for you. I give you props. I give you props for the fact that you enjoy this concept. I don't. I really don't. I think it's very pointless when we've had this feature of reusable TMs since, you know, almost 4 generations ago. You know, and it just feels like we are going many steps back for no reason when this didn't need to be a thing. Yeah, it didn't need to be a thing at all. You know, they could have just made it so that, you know, the Dynamax candies or shit, make it, you know, rare candies or something like that. You know, or like rare evolutionary stones. Shit like that would have been a lot more rewarding and wouldn't have pissed me off. Going back to something very positive. Character customization. I love it. Absolutely love it. It is absolutely stellar, the character customization in this game. It is so much better than Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon by default. I'm really digging the character customization options. I like the fact that I can pick colors that aren't natural. Yes, I know that's weird to say, but I've always I don't dye my hair personally. I've only dyed it once in my entire life. But I like having characters with different color hairstyles. It's just something I've always found cool. And I gave my character this kind of red color scheme because red is my favorite color. And I really like her look. I think she looks very cute. Not a creepy way. I know, I just want to clarify that. I just think she looks cute character design wise. She's got the red and, it's very cool, And, I like the fact that you can actually customize the eyes very unique ways because, Sun and Moon didn't really have many unique eye color options. I like the fact that I can make my character's eyes kind of look like fire, or like embers and whatnot. I'm really digging the customizations. So props where props are due. This is very good. I like this. I love this. This is very good. This is definitely an improvement. So very good job. Not everything I'm going to say is going to be, Game Freak needs to die type shit, So, along those lines. But, that's just me. So, moving on to some more negative stuff again. See, you can tell the balance is, I'll find something I like and write it down, and I get, and I really like it, but then something comes in and just kind of fucking ruins it, it just kind of ruins the moment. So, in this town, there is an Onyx, and I know, we all know what the Pokemon Onyx is, the giant rock snake, and, when I step in front of it, it's all fine. It's all fine and good. When I'm in front of it, it's all fine. But when I walk directly behind it, and it's not very far. If I walk only a few steps behind it, the fucking thing clips out of existence. It just disappears. And that is fucking gross. That is fucking gross. The pop-in for that thing. It is fucking inexcusable. that this was allowed in a $60 Pokemon game. And I'm going to repeat that phrase a lot, because this game is $60 fucking dollars. This is a full price game. There should not be this type of shit. This was not made by Call of Duty. This was made by a subsidiary of fucking Nintendo. Nintendo does not make games like this. No. Okay? No. Nintendo does not make these type of things. You know, yes, there are not always good Nintendo games, but God, at least Nintendo games don't look like absolute horseshit. So, yes, I took a clip of it. I'm going to link it to this after I post it on YouTube. I don't have the words. I think you have to see it for yourself in order to make an opinion of your own design. But as for me, fucking horrendous. Fucking horrendous. Alright. And it does not get better. It gets worse. It just gets fucking worse. So, I found the NPC. The infamous NPC that gives you the key item that lets you control the fucking volume of the music. The fact that you have to get this manually, the fact that you have to go and talk to a random NPC, and you have to get this manually and not naturally, is the biggest fuck up of it's one of the biggest fuck ups in game design. This is not good fucking game design. I am not sorry. Nope. Not fucking sorry about this. Look, I understand. I am the type of person, I will talk to all the NPCs because, you know, based on previous experience with the franchise, I know that talking to all the NPCs, you know, is going to get me an item, you know, like a Quick Claw or a potion or some other bullshit. So yes, I am the type of person who would go and talk to the NPC, you know, and find out that, you know, this item. However, I realize that there are people who play this game who are not like me and don't like talking to all the NPCs. The fact that they cannot the fact that this NPC holds a key item that allows people to adjust the volume, and I know it's a very minor thing, but this is just a critique of design alone. That is unacceptable fucking design. The fact that you do not give your player the ability to adjust the volume at their own discretion is terrible fucking design. The fact that you hide it behind a random generic computer character, you can't do this type of shit. You don't just hide these options behind a random NPC that is not guaranteed to be interacted with. If you know, it's ridiculous. If you had to do this, if you had to have a key item like this, you know, in the game, a better idea would be to force it onto the player through a cutscene, like you have done in prior games with things like the EXP share. You know, have a character show up and give the player these things. Don't just lock it behind a random NPC that is not 100% guaranteed to be interacted with, because the players are not going to know who that is. I only found it by sheer fucking coincidence. Sheer fucking coincidence. That's not good design. That's not good design. That's stupid. Stupid. Ah. Okay, so moving on. I found the Pokeball guy, and I don't have anything to say about him right now. I'll probably say more stuff about this character later. I do know that he is a very beloved character so far to the fan base, so I'm definitely going to have to come back to him. But right now, I do not have much of an opinion on this character. I just figured I would bring him up just for the sake of, hey, I saw the character. I don't have an opinion on the character yet. Also want to say I like how the whole Pokemon League here is handled like a tournament. I actually like this concept. It works with how the anime kind of is, because the anime kind of fits the tournament quota. Because, the league battle at the very end. I know that the league battle at the very end isn't, a traditional Elite Four battle. It's, kind of like it's a tournament battle. And in my opinion, that is a very interesting way to go about it, and I'm surprised we hadn't gotten that before, but I'm okay with this. Um, I like this concept, and I know that it leads up to a finals tournament, and you know what? I think it's fine. I think this is good. This is good. So I picked my uniform number, and yes, I'm going to go for irony's sake. I went with the numbers 666 because we all know this game is made by the devil. And I just like I just think it fits with my whole negative view of the game so far. So I'm going to pick 666 for the uniform. So I had my first interaction with B. Not much to say. He's a dick. He's an asshole. He seems like he's going to be the jerk rival. I do know that we have 3 rivals total for this game, which is Hop, B, and Marnie. And Marnie is also in this area. You don't see her in a cutscene, but she's here. And she seems interesting because she doesn't fit either the, excitable rival quota that Hop fills, and doesn't fit the asshole quota that B fills. So I think she's going to be a very interesting case, especially considering that Team Yell is kind of centered around her. So, that they're kind of focused on her. So I'm interested to see how this will develop. Now we appear to be getting more lore for the story. Apparently there was a great black storm that covered Galar, and it was called The Darkest Day. I know this is going to be important later. I also see female members. I also see Team Yell members, or not see. I also saw Team Yell members in the background, so I know that this lore section is not going to last very long. But very long ago, the land was assaulted by a very large Pokemon or whatever, and it was defeated by a single young hero wielding a sword and shield. And this statue here is meant to, show how that hero looked. But they don't understand what the sword and shield is. I'm assuming that he was actually just a Pokemon trainer, and that the sword is Zacian. He was training Zacian and Zamazenta, and those were his sword and his shield. I have a feeling that's where they're going with this, which, would make complete sense if that's where they were going with this. So, I don't know for now, but if that is where they're going with this, I think it'll be fine. But outside of that, that's about it. I think it's interesting to think about. And I do know that the Darkest Day thing is going to come up later. But as of right now, not much. It's fine. It's passable. But it's not very. It's okay. It's a little bit interesting, but it's not to the levels of other games. Just saying. All right. So here's Team Yell. I do not like them. I'm going to be very, very blunt here. I do not like Team Yell. I think they are stupid, and I understand that was the point. But they are not a Team Skull. Team Skull was, more interesting because at least design-wise, they didn't look like a pack of goobers. But also the fact that they were not the true villains. And I know that Team Yell is not the true villains. They are too stupid to be the true villains of this game. They're too dumb to be the true villains of this game. That's not much else I can say on that. They are too stupid, to be the actual antagonists. So, I know, but God, I hate their designs. I hate the male designs. They are just fat old dudes. I don't know what this was supposed to be. I don't know what the commentary is supposed to be here. I don't like it. I fucking hate it. I don't like it. I like the female design. I think that's okay. I think the female design is fine because it's not overly obnoxious, but seeing these fat goobers, and don't be offended by this, I am also a very overweight person, you know, but I cannot even take these remotely seriously or even comedically because it doesn't make me laugh. It just makes me feel, it just makes me groan in just displeasure, When I'm interacting with Team Skull and Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I laugh because they're ridiculous characters. They act like these stereotypes, of gangsters or of just current gang members. But they're really just in over their heads. Here, it's just like they're just obnoxious, And maybe this was supposed to represent the people who are criticizing the game, or maybe it was supposed to represent just internet nerds in general. I don't know what Game Freak was going for here. I just don't like the male design. It's obnoxious. It's gross, and it's stupid. It's almost, in my opinion, borderline offensive. It's like, why? Why would you make them these big goobers? I understand they're not supposed to be serious, but fuck, man. I'd at least like to laugh at something. I can't laugh at this. I can't look at this and think, man, this was a good idea. I just don't like it. I do not like Team Yell. I think they're dumb. I think they are dumb. I think they are stupid. I think their designs are stupid. I just think that they just such a fucking disgrace to this fucking game. It just makes me so fucking disappointed. Yeah. I have been longing for another serious fucking team for so long. We have not had a serious evil team since Gen fucking 5. Since Gen fucking 5. We had Team Flare. They were a bunch of idiots, and their leader's goals were very fucking weird. Oh, I'm gonna kill all of humanity, whatever. Then we had Team Skull. Yeah, they were funny, but they weren't something you could take seriously. The Aether Foundation was fine, but then I know in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, their whole thing gets kind of ruined, development-wise, because Luzamine isn't turned into an actual antagonist. She's just kind of fucking there, in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And now we're here, and this is just the biggest fucking joke. Why? Why? I ask, why? What happened to the teams that, were relative? I understand, yes, they were funny. They had funny dialogue. Team Galactic had funny dialogue, and said stupid shit, But at least the antagonist, could be taken somewhat seriously, despite, yes, I understand to a lot of people, Cyrus's goals are very fucking generic. But for the love of God, at least I could take him seriously. This is fucking ridiculous. I can take Giovanni seriously. Giovanni! And he's probably the most generic fucking villain in the series. And I can take him more seriously than this. Why? Why did you think this was a good idea? Why? Why, Game Freak? Why did you think that this was something that was good? And it doesn't get better. No, it does not get better. So, you fight Team Yell. I fought Team Yell. You go to fight Team Yell. And, oh my God, this is horrendous. The fact that the entire room just turns into a white void, despite the fact that we are in a hotel, and the prior games have had attention to detail. The 3DS games have had attention to detail to the interior of rooms, or to the exterior of rooms. You know, the fact that there is no attention to detail here. The fact that there is just a white void. I am looking at the ground. There isn't just white textures, and the walls are definitely not all white. There are people here. Why is it that some aspects of this game get the background somewhat right, but then other aspects don't? I don't get it. I don't fucking understand. How do people look at this and think, this is good, this is okay, oh, it's just Trick Room? This is fucking bullshit. Absolute horrible fucking bullshit. Okay? This is what I wrote down. This is what I wrote down. It just fucking baffles me. It baffles me. It fucking baffles me. The Game Freak thought that this was okay, that this was possible on a fucking $60 game on the Nintendo fucking Switch. This is inexcusable. Inexcusable. And it fucking shows how lazy this is. This is irritating. Absolute irritating bullshit. And I am not sorry. This is fucking disgusting. And people are like, oh, it's just a special effect. It's Trick Room. That's one of the things I saw on Twitter. It's Trick Room. Don't you understand? It's just Trick Room. It's not fucking Trick Room. This is how these fucking arenas look. There is no reason why this should be this way. This is just pure fucking laziness. Pure unadulterated laziness. There is no fucking excuse. This is fucking horseshit. Horse shit. Absolutely fucking horseshit. There is no excuse for this. No excuse. This is a $60 console game, people. $60 fucking dollars. Allow me to repeat that for you. $60 fucking dollars. Do you know how much other games with more detail cost? You could get The Outer Worlds for the same price. And that game has a lot more fucking content in it. And a lot more beautiful design. Yes, it's on the Xbox One. This game is on the Switch. There are Switch games with the same fucking level of detail as The Outer Worlds. Have you ever heard of a game called Breath of the fucking Wild? Because I know it's brought up a lot when involving this fucking mess. No, even Mario Odyssey. Fuck, Sonic Forces looks better than this shit. Sonic fucking Forces. And that game is just a generic piece of fucking filth that I happen to own. And that looks better than this. That looks better than this. The fact that, this is comparable to fucking Sonic Team. How do you get yourselves compared to Sonic Team? How does that fucking happen? How? It fucking hurts me that there are people willing to excuse this. This is inexcusable. You are wasting $60, $60 fucking dollars, unless you bought this at Walmart. If you bought this at GameStop, you really are wasting $60 fucking dollars on this game. If you enjoy it, good for you. Good for you. I am so happy for you. I am so fucking happy for you because you will see something that I can't. You see something that I can't, and I am so sorry that you have to hear me getting angry about a game you love. I know that probably grinds somebody's gears. I know that probably rips somebody apart, makes them very angry with me. But you have to understand, as someone who has been a fan of this series since I was 4 fucking years old, I hate this. I hate this so much. Hate. Hate is a very strong fucking word. It's very strong. Okay, but that is all I have. All I have right now is hatred. Absolute, unadulterated hatred. Do you feel the anger coming out of me? Do you feel how much this is angering me? The fact You know, that the whole fucking thing just turns into a white fucking void. When other games have done it right, there is no excuse. There is no fucking excuse. There isn't. There is no excuse for this. It fucking angers me. It angers me so fucking much that this is considered acceptable by people. That this is considered fucking acceptable. I don't know what else to say. My favorite fucking Pokemon, all of the legendaries I have collected, all of my starters, that I have collected, a lot of my favorite Pokemon that I have collected cannot come to this game. Yet shit like this is still prevalent in a game series that is over 25 years old. I'm sorry, but there is no excuse. There is nothing in this world that you can say to me to convince me that this was good. That this was good. This is laziness. This isn't a gift. I know people call people who critique this game, entitled. This game is not a gift. This game is a product. It is a product made by a company to be sold to children and adults worldwide. This game costs $60 fucking dollars. You could get better games in this series for half that price, with the ability to access all of the Pokemon at that point. So, please tell me how this can be excused. Because if you can come up with a reason, I would be glad to hear it. But for right now, I don't see an excuse. I don't see a single fucking excuse for this. I wrote down, I do not have the words to express my anger and frustration with the whole Void thing. I don't. I do not have the words. Because if I did have to say the words, they would be really, really bad. And I'm not going to say them. But just know that I am absolutely livid. Totally livid. Like, very, very angry. So, moving on. Take a breather for a minute. Moving on. Try and recover myself. We finally get introduced to Marnie, officially. And she's cute. She's fine. I think she's going to work well as a rival. We haven't gotten to battle her yet, but I am interested to hear what they're going to do with her character. Because outside of that, I already hate Team Yell. I hate the first battle I had with them because of the stupid shit. And you already, as I've said, this is a $60 game, yet, this whole thing is a white void. That's excellent design. Yeah, beautiful. I am not pleased. This does not please me at all. That is what I wrote. I wrote, I am not pleased. I am not pleased. This does not please me at all. No, it doesn't. Does not please me. As somebody who has been following this game since fucking Pokemon Red and Blue. I'm not a Gen 1er either. But as somebody who has been following this game since my first time laying my hands on a Game Boy, I am ashamed. I am ashamed. Moving on, there was another part that I think really needed voice acting, and that was the opening of the Pokemon tournament. And Rose is very animated in these. I do like his animations, but again, we have this problem where his lips are moving very expressively, and there's just no voice coming out of it, and it just feels wrong. It just feels wrong. There's not much else I can say about that. It's time to see the gym leaders. So I like the design of the gym leaders so far. Outside of the ones that we have seen, because we've seen Nessa, we've seen Alistair. Because I'm playing Shield, so we're not getting B. Or did I just call? Oh, Bede. That's his name, Bede. I've been calling Bede B. Um, I meant replace B with Bede. Um, we don't have B in this version, so instead we have Alistair, and I like his design just fine. Um, Kabu, I really like his design. He kind of reminds me of Koga, which is fine. But I like it. He looks like a grizzled old warrior man. And then there's Opal, who basically just looks like Queen Elizabeth, so that's funny. Then there's Melanie, and everybody loves Melanie. And Raihan, who looks like a typical anime protagonist. They're missing one gym leader, so I wonder who that is. But hey, I do like the fact that we do have specific gym leaders. I do like how we have specific gym leaders per version. So it's kind of like we're back to black and white in that regard, which I think is very cool. I thought that was cool back then. And we get to see ourselves walk into the stadium, and I do like the initial uniform. I do believe you can customize it, so you can wear a different uniform during the gym battles, but I like the initial uniform just fine. But if we get new uniforms, I will definitely wear them. And holy shit, Rose's theme really bounces. I think it is amazing. There's nothing I can say bad about the music of this game. Nothing I can say bad about it. I think the music is stellar. I think it's very good. So I can't criticize the music. It's very good. And we finally unlocked fast travel pretty early on too. We haven't even gotten to our first gym yet. I was not expecting this, but I am okay with this. I am actually very glad that we have the ability to do this. So I cut the session short because, well, it was like 12 o'clock, and it's 1 o'clock now as I'm recording this. I wanted to cover, so this session spent a good amount of time covering the remaining bit of the wild area, because I wanted to go through that. And we still haven't gotten to Gym 1 yet, sorry. But I did at least want to get to our first Team Yell encounter, which I did, and I'm very disappointed in how that went, if you can tell by the fact that my voice got very shaky for a little bit. And I did like the fact that we got the introduction to the Gym League, so next session, I think we are going to be able to get to our first gym. I'm hoping we get to that, because, I wait to see how much worse this game continues to get. Let's just be honest here. For me, I don't think this is getting any better. I don't think this is going to get any better. So, and I was also looking at the map at this point, and it surprised me how little the wild area actually is, because I thought there was going to be a lot more to it, but it doesn't really look like it is, so I don't know. Considering it was like the big feature that I saw advertised for this game, I'm kind of surprised. But that's going to be it for session 2. I don't know how this session wound up being even more upsetting to me than session 1, but it did. It did, and I am very, very displeased right now with the game. We're still not even at the first gym yet, and I'm already very unhappy with how this game is going. There's lag, Team Yell, the battles, it's already beginning to drain me. And there is no excuse in my eyes. So I hope, hey, if you're still interested and you want to see this next time, that's great. If you can't tell from the sound of my voice, I am already burnt out. This game is a fucking it's a fucking mess. But I'm going to continue this series because I really want to just rip this game apart, piece by piece, and see if I can put it back together. So, thank you for watching. I have been Fool, and I will see you next time.